synopsis for Shivpuran. Last week we read chapter 13 of KotiRudrasamhita of volume 3 of the Shivpuran. In this we read that formerly a demon named Andhaka harassed gods and kept the three worlds under his control. He resorted to a deep ditch of the ocean and would come out, exploit the people, and return to the ditch. The distressed gods sought refuge in Lord Shiva, and he promised to slay the Asura. When the Asura came out of the ditch, the gods went and occupied it, and then a terrible battle was fought between the gods and the Asuras. By the blessing of Shiva, gods became strong, and Asura went back to the ditch as he was tormented by them. He was pierced with Shiva's trident. In the ditch, he meditated on Lord Shiva. The delighted Shiva asked him for a boon. The Asura requested for forever devotion towards Lord Shiva and requested Shiva to be stationed there. Shiva hurled him into the ditch and stood there in the form of phallic image. This form of Shiva was called Andhakesha. Suta then narrated the story of Vatukas. Once Brahmin, the Dichi's son, Sudarshana, performed misdeed while worshipping Lord Shiva, and then the angry Lord Shiva cursed him to be untouchable and insensible person. The Dichi also rebuked his son. Then both father and son worshipped goddess Parvati with great devotion. The goddess was delighted and adopted Sudarshana as her son and implored Lord Shiva to forgive him and place Sudarshana in Shiva's lap. Sudarshana then performed ablutions and great worship of Lord Shiva. Delighted Lord Shiva made him and holy his four sons as Vatukas in the four quarters. The boons were granted to the noble Sudarshana and his son by goddess Parvati and Lord Shiva. Today, we will read chapter 14, the origin of Jyotirlinga Somanatha in English. The English reader for today is Manisha Aunty, and we'll also be reading in Hindi, which will be a very, very brief of the chapters 8 to 14 that were read in English. The Hindi reader today is Rima Aunty. Bahut bahut shukrana.
Jai Guruji. I'll be reading chapter 14 today. The sages said, please narrate the greatness of the Jyotirlingas. Please mention their origin and everything else in the manner you have heard. O Brahmins, please listen. I shall narrate its greatness and origin succinctly in the manner I have heard from my good preceptor, to the extent of my intellect. The first among them is glorified as Somnath. O sage, at the outset listen to his greatness with attention. O great sages, the greatness of Jyotirlingas cannot be adequately described even in 100 of years. Still, I shall tell you. O great sages, his daughters, 27 in number, Aswini and others, were given in marriage to the moon by Daksha, the great soul. On securing the moon as their lord, those daughters shone extraordinarily. The moon too, on securing them, shone incessantly. The jewel shines with gold, and the gold shines with the jewel. Now listen to what happened in the due course. Out of his 27 wives, he did not love anyone so much at any time as he loved Rohini. The others became distressed and sought refuge in their father. After going to him, they mentioned their misery to him. On hearing it, Daksh too was struck with grief. O Brahmins, approaching the moon, he calmly spoke to him. Daksh said, O storehouse of digits, you are born of a noble family. How can you cherish auditory in your affection towards your dependents? If you have done so, stop with it. This is enough. You shall not repeat it. Auditory in behavior is said to be the conductor to hell. Sutta said, after requesting the moon, his son-in-law, thus Daksh returned to his abode fully assured. The moon did not act according to his advice, being deluded by Shiva's Maya, which deluded the universe. Welfare befalls him who is destined to have it. How can one destined to court walk without a wheel? Being subjected to the force of destiny, the moon did not accept his advice. Infatuated of Rohini, he neglected others. On hearing it, the skillful Daksh returned to the moon excessively distressed. He politely asked the moon to mend his ways. Daksh said, O moon, listen. Although requested repeatedly, you did not pay heed to my entreaties, hence fall a prey to the wasting disease. Sutta said, just as he cursed him, the moon contracted consumption without a thrice. When he was wasted away, there was a great hue and cry. O sage, the gods and the sages became extremely agitated and felt miserable. What shall be done? What will happen now? Informed and implored by the moon, Indra and other gods, Vashishth and other sages sought refuge in Brahma. O sage, after approaching him in their great agitation, they bowed to an equalized Brahma and mentioned everything to him. On hearing their words, Brahma was much surprised. Praising the Maya of Shiva with their hearing, he said, Brahma said, Oh, what a pity! This is distressing to the entire world. The moon is always wicked and defiled. Now Daksh has cursed him. Many unholy deeds have been committed by the wicked moon. O sages, O gods, may the early misdeeds of the moon be heard. The wicked fellow went to Brihaspati's house and abducted his wife Tara. He then allied himself with Daityas. Having sought refuge in the Daityas, he fought against the god, though forbidden by me and Atri. Then the moon restored Tara to Brihaspati. Seeing her parents, Brihaspati refused to take her back. Induced by us, he accepted her unwillingly. But he said, if she casts off the fetus, I shall accept her. When they asked her whose child she bore in the womb, she replied that the fetus grew out of the seed of the moon. O excellent sages, I then removed the fetus and urged by me. She was accepted by him. What awaits the narration of his previous countless vicious deeds, he still continues to do similar things. What has happened cannot be reversed. I shall tell you the means to be adopted now. Listen attentively. Let the moon go to the auspicious shrine at Prabhasa along with the gods. Let him propitiate Shiva there according to Mrityunjaya rites. Let him perform the penance incessantly sitting before the Lord. The delighted Shiva will cure him from consumption afterwards. Sutta said, on hearing the words of Brahma, the gods and the sages returned to the place where Daksha and the moon were present. The gods and the sages consoled Daksha and took the moon to Prabhas. They invoked the sacred waters of Saraswati and other rivers and performed the worship of the earthen phallic image in accordance with the Mrityunjaya rites. The gods and the sages of pious mind left the moon at Prabhasa and joyously returned to their abode. The moon performed the penance incessantly for 6 months. He worshipped the bull banner deity with the Mrityunjaya mantra. The moon repeated the Mrityunjaya mantra 100 million times. He meditated on the Lord Mrityunjaya with his mind unruffled. Lord Shiva, who is favorably disposed towards his devotees, was pleased by his devotion and manifesting himself, they spoke to him. Shiva said, O moon, there be a welfare to you. Choose your boon. Whatever you desire in your mind, I am pleased with you. I shall grant you an excellent boon. The moon said, O Lord of gods, if you are delighted, what is not attainable to me? Still, O Lord, let not my body decay by consumption. Pardon my faults. Remain benevolent to me always. When he had said, the Shiva spoke to him again. Shiva said, O moon, let your digit decline day by day in 1 fortnight and increase steadily in another. Sutta said, O Brahmins, when this happened, the delighted gods and the sages came there quickly. After coming there, they offered benedictory blessings to the moon. They joined their palms in reverence and bowed to Shiva. They prayed to him devotionally. The gods said, O great God, O Lord of gods, obeisance be to you. O Shiva, O Lord, be stable here along with Uma. Sutta said, then the moon equalized the Lord with good devotion, first in the Nirgun and then in the Sagun form. Shiva was delighted with the gods. For increasing the glory and the greatness of the region and the moon, Shiva stayed there in the name of Someshwara. He became famous in 3 worlds. O Brahmins, by worshipping Shiva, becomes the destroyer of ailments such as consumption, leprosy, etc. Blessed indeed and contented is he whose name Shiva, the Lord of the worlds, himself stayed there, sanctifying the entire world. A pond was established there itself by all the gods. That was shared by Shiva and Brahma together. It is famous as the moon's pond on the earth. It is destructive of sins. The man who takes bath there gets rid of sins here. Incurable diseases like consumption are entirely eradicated if a person takes ablutions there for 6 months. A pious man attains the fruit of circumambulating the earth. If he circumambulates Prabhasa, after that he is honored in heaven by the gods. On seeing this Somalinga, a person is relieved of all sins. After enjoying the fruit as desired, he attains heaven after death. He who makes pilgrimage to the place attains the fruit of whatever he might have had in view. There is no doubt about this. Thus, seeing the fruit of the high order, the sages and the gods joyously bowed to Shiva and took the moon now freed from wastage. Circumambulating and praising that holy center, they returned to their abodes. The moon resumed his former activity. O great sages, thus the details of the origin of Somesha have been narrated to you. Someshwara has originated. He who listens to this origin or narrates it to others attains all desires and becomes rid of all sins. Thank you. With this, I conclude today's reading in English. Vima Aunty will be doing the reading in Hindi. Jai Guruji.
जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी। अध्याय 8। प्रथम ज्योतिर्लिंग सोमनाथ के प्रादुर्भाव की कथा और उसकी महिमा। तदनंतर कपिला नगरी के कालेश्वर, रामेश्वर आदि की महिमा बताते हुए सूत जी ने समुद्र के तट पर स्थित गोकर्ण क्षेत्र के शिवलिंग की महिमा का वर्णन किया। फिर महाबल नामक शिवलिंग का अद्भुत महात्म्य सुनाकर अन्य बहुत से शिवलिंगों की विचित्र महात्म्य कथा का वर्णन करने के पश्चात ऋषियों के पूछने पर वे ज्योतिर्लिंगों का वर्णन करने लगे। सूत जी बोले, ब्राह्मणों, मैंने सद्गुरु से जो कुछ सुना है वह ज्योतिर्लिंगों का महात्म्य तथा उनके प्राक्ट्य का प्रसंग अपनी बुद्धि के अनुसार संक्षेप से ही सुनाऊंगा। तुम सब लोग सुनो। उन्हें ज्योतिर्लिंगों में सबसे पहले सोमनाथ का नाम आता है, अतः पहले उन्हीं के महात्म्य को सावधान होकर सुनो। मुनीश्वरों, महामना प्रजापति दक्ष ने अपनी अश्विनी आदि 27 कन्याओं का विवाह चंद्रमा के साथ किया था। चंद्रमा को स्वामी के रूप में पाकर वे दक्ष कन्याएं विशेष शोभा पाने लगीं तथा चंद्रमा भी उन्हें पत्नी के रूप में पाकर निरंतर सुशोभित होने लगे। उन सब पत्नियों में भी जो रोहिणी नामक की पत्नी थी, एकमात्र वही चंद्रमा को जितनी प्रिय थी उतनी दूसरी कोई पत्नी कदापि प्रिय नहीं हुई। इससे दूसरी स्त्रियों को बड़ा दुख हुआ। वे सब अपने पिता की शरण में गईं। वहाँ जाकर उन्होंने जो भी दुख था उसे पिता को निवेदन किया। द्विजो, वह सब सुनकर दक्ष भी दुखी हो गए और चंद्रमा के पास आकर शांतिपूर्वक बोले। दक्ष ने कहा, कलानिधे, तुम निर्मल कुल में उत्पन्न हुए हो। तुम्हारे आश्रय में रहने वाली जितनी स्त्रियां हैं उन सबके प्रति तुम्हारे मन में न्यूनाधिक भाव क्यों है? तुम किसी को अधिक और किसी को कम प्यार क्यों करते हो? अब तक जो किया सो किया, अब आगे फिर कभी ऐसा विषमतापूर्ण बर्ताव तुम्हें नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि उसे नरक देने वाला बताया गया है। सूत जी कहते हैं, महर्षियों, अपने दामाद चंद्रमा से स्वयं ऐसी प्रार्थना करके प्रजापति दक्ष घर को चले गए। उन्हें पूर्ण निश्चय हो गया था कि अब फिर आगे ऐसा नहीं होगा, पर चंद्रमा ने प्रबल भावी से जाता है और विवश होकर उनकी बात नहीं मानी। वे रोहिणी में इतने आसक्त हो गए थे कि दूसरी किसी पत्नी का भी कभी आदर नहीं करते थे। इस बात को सुनकर दक्ष दुखी हो फिर स्वयं आकर चंद्रमा को उत्तम नीति से समझाने तथा न्यायोचित बर्ताव के लिए प्रार्थना करने लगे। दक्ष बोले, चंद्रमा सुनो, मैं पहले अनेक बार तुमसे प्रार्थना कर चुका हूँ, फिर भी तुमने मेरी बात नहीं मानी, इसलिए आज शाप देता हूँ कि तुम्हें क्षय का रोग हो जाए। सूत जी कहते हैं, दक्ष के इतना कहते ही क्षण भर में चंद्रमा क्षय रोग से ग्रस्त हो गए। उनके क्षीण होते ही उस समय सब और महान हाहाकार मच गया। सब देवता और ऋषि कहने लगे कि हाय हाय, अब क्या करना चाहिए, चंद्रमा कैसे ठीक होंगे। मुने, इस प्रकार दुख में पड़कर वे सब लोग विठल हो गए। चंद्रमा ने इंद्र आदि सब देवताओं तथा ऋषियों को अपनी अवस्था सूचित की। तब इंद्र आदि देवता तथा वशिष्ठ आदि ऋषि ब्रह्मा जी की शरण में गए। उनकी बात सुनकर ब्रह्मा जी ने कहा, देवताओं, जो हुआ सो हुआ, अब वह निश्चय ही पलट नहीं सकता, अतः उसके निवारण के लिए मैं तुम्हें एक उत्तम उपाय बताता हूँ। आदरपूर्वक सुनो। चंद्रमा देवताओं के साथ प्रभाव से नामक शुभ्र क्षेत्र में जाएं और वहाँ मृत्युंजय मंत्र का विधि पूर्वक अनुष्ठान करते हुए भगवान शिव की आराधना करें। अपने सामने शिवलिंग की स्थापना करके वहाँ चंद्रदेव नित्य तपस्या करें। इससे प्रसन्न होकर शिव उन्हें क्षय रहित कर देंगे। तब देवताओं तथा ऋषियों के कहने से ब्रह्मा जी की आज्ञा के अनुसार चंद्रमा ने वहाँ 6 महीने तक निरंतर तपस्या की। मृत्युंजय मंत्र भगवान वृषभध्वज का पूजन किया। 10 करोड़ मंत्र का जप और मृत्युंजय का ध्यान करते हुए चंद्रमा वहाँ स्थिर चित्त होकर लगातार खड़े रहे। उन्हें तपस्या करते देख भक्त वत्सल भगवान शंकर प्रसन्न हो उनके सामने प्रकट हो गए और अपने भक्त चंद्रमा से बोले, शंकर जी ने कहा, चंद्रदेव तुम्हारा कल्याण हो, तुम्हारे मन में जो अभीष्ट हो वह वर मांगो, मैं प्रसन्न हूँ, तुम्हें संपूर्ण उत्तम वर प्रदान करूँगा। चंद्रमा बोले, देवेश्वर, यदि आप प्रसन्न हैं तो मेरे लिए क्या असाध्य हो सकता है। तथापि प्रभु शंकर, आप मेरे शरीर के इस क्षय रोग का निवारण कीजिए। मुझसे जो अपराध बन गया हो उसे क्षमा कीजिए। शिवजी ने कहा, चंद्रदेव, एक पक्ष में प्रतिदिन तुम्हारी कला क्षीण हो और दूसरे पक्ष में फिर वह निरंतर बढ़ती रहे। तदनंतर चंद्रमा ने भक्ति भाव से भगवान शंकर की स्तुति की। इससे पहले निराकार होते हुए भी वे भगवान शिव फिर साकार हो गए। देवताओं पर प्रसन्न हो उस क्षेत्र के महात्म्य को बढ़ाने तथा चंद्रमा के यश का विस्तार करने के लिए भगवान शंकर उन्हीं के नाम पर वहाँ सोमेश्वर कहलाए और सोमनाथ के नाम से तीनों लोकों में विख्यात हुए। ब्राह्मणों सोमनाथ का पूजन करने से वे उपासक के क्षय तथा कोढ़ आदि रोगों का नाश कर देते हैं। ये चंद्रमा धन्य हैं, कृत्य हैं, जिनके नाम से तीनों लोकों के स्वामी साक्षात भगवान शंकर भूतल को पवित्र करते हुए प्रभास क्षेत्र में विद्यमान हैं। वहीं संपूर्ण देवताओं ने सोमकुंड की भी स्थापना की है, जिसमें शिव और ब्रह्मा का सदा निवास माना जाता है। चंद्रकुंड इस भूतल पर पाप नाशन तीर्थ के रूप में प्रसिद्ध हैं। जो मनुष्य उसमें स्नान करता है वह सब पापों से मुक्त हो जाता है। क्षय आदि जो असाध्य रोग होते हैं वे सब उस कुंड में 6 मास तक स्नान करने मात्र से नष्ट हो जाते हैं। मनुष्य जिस फल के उद्देश्य से इस उत्तम तीर्थ का सेवन करता है उस फल को सर्वथा प्राप्त कर लेता है, इसमें संशय नहीं है। चंद्रमा निरोग होकर अपना पुराना कार्य संभालने लगे। इस प्रकार मैंने सोमनाथ की उत्पत्ति का सारा प्रसंग सुना दिया। मुनीश्वरों, इस तरह सोमेश्वर लिंग का प्रादुर्भाव हुआ है। जो मनुष्य सोमनाथ के प्रादुर्भाव की इस कथा को सुनता अथवा दूसरों को सुनाता है वह संपूर्ण अभीष्ट को पाता और सब पापों से मुक्त हो जाता है। With this we conclude Hindi chapter. Thank you. जय गुरुजी। शुक्राना।